Welcome back.
Welcome, folks, to episode 9 of the Wrinkled podcast. My name is Morgan. This this scholarly gentleman to my right, yeah, or to my bottom, depending on if you're on the short or the long form side.
Excuse me.
This is Hunter, aka Sir Squatch.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's been a while. My power supply went out, so had to remedy that. That was a fun endeavor, and then took about 20 minutes of figuring out audio sources because for all the awesome things they can do, PCs are a pain in the ass.
100%.
Yeah. So, hey, man, you been watching any of this basketball lately? The playoffs?
Yes, I have been.
What do you
And
What
let
do
me
you think?
just let me just say a good old quick you to Draymond Green.
Oh,
Uh,
is that the dude who like held onto the dude's leg or whatever?
no, so that was the guy that stepped on his chest.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
dang!
suspended for game 3 um for doing that.
Oh my god!
And like the dude has a history of being like a dirty player, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Which in the NBA it's kind of hard to do, but to me you kind of cement yourself where you go up for a shot and you kick your leg out so much that you end up kicking the other player in the nuts.
Hmm.
You know, I'm like, no one ever shoots a basketball like that. No one has ever shot a basketball like that.
Right.
You know, you're just making it obvious now that you're kind of a dirty asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
Um,
man, and I know, like, I'm sure people will say, like, oh, in the heat of the moment, it's like, in the heat of the moment is exactly when you need to have your shit in check.
yeah, exactly.
No,
You know,
no other,
composure and
yeah, no other moment matters. It's when, shit hits the fan that you need to be able to control yourself.
mm,
Because if you can't, like, that's the only time that matters. That's when, crazy stuff happens. That's when, oh God, my emotions are,
exactly.
you
You know,
have to be able to maintain your composure.
and like for I'm sure it's the story of the decade is this Warriors team has been to multiple finals and won multiple finals. You know what I'm saying? They're a very well-rounded team, and Draymond has been on the team since the start of these finals appearances and wins and shit like that. You would think after so many appearances and wins and whatever, like you would kind of get used to like kind of get thrown around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
mean,
nah,
it's it's not a full contact sport, but I mean, at this point, you got to know, like, all right, we're up against each other. We're like, people are close. They're gonna stop me or try and stop me from scoring. Like, it's gonna get a little physical at times.
yeah,
This is
and like I
not
said, that
anything new.
no, and this is basketball is especially with people. I mean, I don't want to get into like the nitty gritty, but you got Curry, who's arguably the best shooter of all time. You got Klay Thompson, who you could make an argument for being at least a top five, if not a top three, on the same team, playing at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times realistically are we going to the paint to try and score? Like,
Right,
um, but
dude.
yeah, that whole game, he was just not necessarily bullying, but he was kind of like, um, he was throwing some arms out and kind of like be a little bit more physical. Meanwhile, Sabonis from the Kings was kind of like taking it in stride pretty much for the most part, Um,
I I
but
mean, letting
eventually,
letting the idea of, oh God, it's the playoffs, go to your head a little too much.
yeah, and like for the Kings, obviously it's a massive, like, this is huge.
Yeah,
Kings have been in the playoffs in 15, 16 years or whatever it's been. So it's like, okay, I understand like the nerves and the shit like that, but at least, that you have to have, like you said, some composure, some control. Um,
yeah.
once you've kind of settled in a little bit, I think it's a little bit easier. But I don't blame anybody for being a little unsure. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
These are,
stuff is going to happen, like it always does. But oh yeah, I'm gonna go and stomp on this dude's shit. Like, come on.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's taking it like too far, man.
Like,
I'm
really?
just like, oof,
Get over yourself. Go drink some Gatorade. Like, take a deep breath.
yeah,
Regardless of, and no, it does apply too. For them, it's a job, playing basketball.
Mhm.
But again, it's just, it's a job. It's just a game. And I don't mean it's just a game like, oh, it's all meaningless. I mean, regardless of what's going on, like it's not worth digging yourself into this either legal or like criminal,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. Because you're going to feel better in 30 seconds when you sit down and you go, oh, all right.
Yeah. I, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it if this guy has not been known to be a troublemaker and a trouble starter. I mean, he punched his own teammate in the damn jaw. You know what I'm saying? Um, like this guy is known for his
Why?
kind of his aggravation and his temperament and shit. So
Hmm.
that's where I go, okay, well maybe like maybe there is some truth behind this shit, you know?
Maybe this
um,
needs to be addressed
yeah,
and not just
you
write it
know,
off as like, oh, he's aggressive. Anyway,
no,
it's like, no, he's aggressive. Go seek some like counseling
yeah, he
or
did get
something.
suspended for the game three, which
Hmm.
was on last Thursday, I think. Um, but yeah, so he did lose a game, which I mean to me
Right.
is the minimum. But yeah, like I said, I am just whatever, and I'm keeping up to date and shit. And I don't know if you know or even know who this person is, but Darren Fox
Oh,
is
dude, he is
yeah,
a beast.
yeah, dude's a stud.
So I've
Um,
never watched a Kings, like Abby's a huge Kings fan.
mhm,
And she told me, "Oh man, they've got Fox, and he's an animal, and he's so good." And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, "Okay." But then I watched him. So we watched, I believe, game one.
mhm.
Yeah. So we went to this winery, and then we ended up at one of those like self pour, like sports bars where they give you a card, and then you just scan it and pour your
Oh
own
yeah,
beer,
yeah.
and then you pay at the end. Super fun, super chill. Everyone was like, there were Warrior and Kings fans in there, but everyone was super cordial. It was great.
Mhm.
Sat there and watched game one. Watching Fox was like watching, Curry. Like when it just in comparison to the rest of the King, like it seemed like every other basket that was made was Fox on the Kings side. The
Dude,
dude
and
is
yeah,
good.
yeah, he plays a very good game, and I think now is the perfect time for him to shine. As like he's a couple years in, he just won like clutch player of the year as well, which is awesome as shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't doubt it.
Um,
Like I said, just watching it play, I'm like, wow, okay.
yeah, the guy
Like,
is, he's a talent. He's a through and through talent, and it's awesome to watch him play. But I guess during yesterday's game, he ended up fracturing his like right index finger, I think.
ow.
Um, yeah, and he's listed as doubtful for Game Five, and I'm hoping he plays.
Right.
Um, but honestly, I could see it going either way because if they could eke out the win for Game Five and have him back healthy for Game Six, like that's kind of the preferred option.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because they
but
only need what, two more? Yeah. Because they're
yeah,
2-2 right now.
yeah, 2-2. So,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping he pulls a Kobe man and changes his shot and
Just
come back.
just to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, just rather be on the court at all than sit and like I'd rather be
That's
productive like 25% of my ability than not be here at all. You know what I'm saying?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dude,
It should
some of
be
these athletes, like these natural born, we had a dude, I think when I was a senior, he was a sophomore and he was a cross country runner.
mm,
And I mean, just like a rail, soaking wet, maybe like 100 pounds.
yeah,
But you could tell, like, oh, what do you think he is? Oh, he's probably a runner. Yeah. This dude ran like a 4.5 minute mile.
that's crazy.
And then they went on some meet and came back, and everyone was like talking about it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So and so came in like second. And, it wasn't surprising because he usually did super well.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, why is everyone so up and up about it? And apparently, in the first, I don't know how long their meets are. I want to say they're like 12 miles or something.
Hmm.
Apparently, in the first couple miles, he lost one of his shoes. So it just like came off. It got caught on something. And then he broke like 3 bones in his foot.
What the
by
fuck?
like the halfway point and then still managed to come in second.
Jesus Christ, man.
I know, and I'm sitting there thinking about it, and it's like, oh my god, just
That's
yeah,
a that's a
ran,
fucking in real life with David Goggins.
yeah, ran with a broken foot for half their marathon, and then still came in second. It's
That's
ooh,
impressive.
yeah. So seeing that, it just makes me think of that. These basketball players that like mid season change up their shot and they're still incredible, or
Hmm.
again, like some of these football players, like mid game, they'll get something fractured. It's like, nope, let's just keep going.
Yeah,
Like it's wild.
I know. It's insane. But again, though, like when you think of an athlete, like you said, you think of somebody who's like gifted physically. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Um, and it's true. You know what I'm saying? I would think these people who participate in sports, especially high level sports, you know what I'm saying, either professional or like Olympic level or shit like that, they're obviously monsters of some type of genetic creation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they just have it in them just to be the craziest, you know, genetic lottery winners of all time. And the, but I think the part that we tend to forget the most is like the mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is that like that thought process of like I'd rather be here than like I'd rather be doing this over anything type shit. Like you couldn't get me off this field even if you tried.
Right.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
the dedication. It's. I mean, I feel like everyone has it, but they either haven't found it or it's not something. So with these people, it's sports. But I mean, think about, I don't know, mathematicians who can't solve a problem and they'll sit in front of a whiteboard for seven
Yeah.
hours straight
Hmm.
and just looking at it, going through the problems. And it's like, I'm not leaving until I solve this. Or again, something like that, fracture this, fracture that. It doesn't matter. I need to be here because this is my purpose. This is my drive. Like I
Yeah.
have to be here. It's
Just having that mindset, that dedication. They said it is wildly just with something like that. I think you can. Nothing is insurmountable. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I feel like you could do anything at that point because it's just you know nobody thinks like that, and
Yeah.
it really shows when like kind of the shit hits the fan a little bit and like shit's not going your way. Like how some of these athletes they just lock in. You know,
Yeah.
like it's actually insane to see. Like
When you're able
you,
to keep that goal you have in your mind,
yeah,
it's crazy how you will find a way to get there, you know? Or,
yeah.
or die trying. Not
I
maybe
mean,
not literally,
pretty
but
much.
I mean, you listen to that, like you said, David Goggins story where he ran the
Mhm.
100 miles and he's like, I was
Yeah,
bleeding and couldn't move my legs at like mile 70.
yeah. My kneecap was
Yeah.
disintegrated. And I'm like,
Both
excuse
feet
me.
were broken. Like, oh man.
Yeah,
The
it's wild, man.
what'd you call it? The indomitable human spirit.
The indomitable human spirit, man.
We will
You know,
persevere. You
they
know
say
what
that
I
when you,
loved? I heard the other day,
what's that?
and I don't even remember what it was in. It was a clip of just the quote. They could have been talking about like pie. I don't. It doesn't matter. Oh God, what is it? The idea around it was you will make a change in life when the suffering of right now overpowers the fear of the unknown, like in the future.
Mm,
So it. I think it was talking about like, people who are not satisfied in what they're doing right now, but too scared to kind of like either leave the job or start something new type thing.
yeah,
And it was basically like, okay, then you haven't suffered enough right now. Right now isn't bad enough. So basically, when everything in the moment gets so bad that that fear of trying something new doesn't matter anymore, that's when you like make that change. That's when it's like, all right, I'm done feeling this way, or I'm done living this way. I'm gonna try this because there's no way it could be worse than what's going on right now.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I like that. I think to some extent there's some truth to that. You know, when you're at a job and you're not paid garbage, but you're not paid what you'd like,
Mm,
So we talked about this. It's like just enough to keep you going, but not enough to get ahead. And you kind of sit there and work that for a while. And then slowly kind of life goes on. Okay, maybe you get slightly more in debt. Maybe, you're just not enjoying each day less and less.
mm,
And finally it gets to the point. All right, you know what? I woke up and I'm upset now. I'm angry that I feel this way. I'm tired of feeling this way. It's finally bubbled up to that point. All right, I'm going to make this change. I'm going to pursue that new career or get my real estate license or I don't know, move off the grid and to go build a cabin and just live off the
yeah.
land, whatever. I don't know why talking about David Goggins made me think about that, but I
I
like
mean,
that whole, you know?
yeah, and like you said, I, it is crazy inspiring, to a point, because obviously, like, we're talking less than a percent of a percent of a percent of a percent of people who are actually going to go out there and run like 100 miles,
Oh, yeah.
and do this and do that, the other thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, like, some things are just not for everybody, which is understandable. Like, so that's just how life is, Um, but I think to that, like, I think some suffering is required. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there needs to be um some suffering and some, like, some want to do more and to do better. Because, like, if you don't have that, then essentially what are you doing?
I think
There's
it
no
also,
there's no vertical increase of, like, of want. It just, you stagnate. You just stay there and kind of
yeah,
like,
you're complacent.
yeah.
You're content. I think it also kind of builds and gives you a foundation of, I want to say greatness. I don't mean like, oh, you've done something amazing for yourself. So in moments of doubt, when let's say, in high school, you're like, oh God, I just feel really dumb, or I feel like I'm just not getting it. But wait a minute, I just aced my last test on this.
Mm,
So you know what? I'm not dumb. Maybe I'm just struggling with this subject and I need to put in more time or give myself a little bit more like wiggle room. Maybe it just takes a little bit of time. Or again, oh, I feel like I can't take this. It's too hard. Oh, but wait a minute. 2 years ago, I ran this, triathlon and placed in the top 10 or whatever. It gives you like a, you know what? You're not. It's a fight against that self doubt that
mm.
everybody has at some point. Oh, maybe you can't do this. Maybe you can't do that. Do I have what it takes? It's like, you know what? I did that. So why wouldn't I be able to do this? Or why wouldn't I at least be able to try and do this?
Yeah. He said it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's Muhammad Ali, um, and I forget, like, how it even came up. I believe it was during an interview of some kind. I think, um, but he was talking about, like, his training regimen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and either asking, like, well, how do you keep doing this? How do you keep wanting to do this and that? And, what is the drive? Why do you continue? And he said something along the lines of, like, well, I could suffer now and live the rest of my life as a champion. And I'm like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? There it is. Like, that's the mentality you need, is that, like, even if I mean, obviously, like, you're going to be suffering. Like, it's going to be painful. It's going to be tiring. It's going to be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get up, go to the gym, or go to the boxing, whatever, do my drills and this and that. But it's like, if I do this, I will be champion. You know what I'm saying? I will continue the rest of my life as a champion. And, like, it rang true. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, like, obviously, we know Muhammad Ali is one of the greatest boxers of all time, and you could argue that he is the greatest boxer of all time. Like,
Right.
it's crazy.
I mean, if not by ability, just by like being renowned.
Yeah, accomplishment and
Yeah. I mean,
everything in
everyone,
between.
like, if you ask them, oh, do you know any boxers? Oh, Ali or Tyson.
Tyson,
In
yeah.
terms of names that people would know, it's going to be one of those two. So,
'Cause I think there is always going to be some merit to, like, some suffering and, you know
Yeah.
The quote I always use is like when you're getting too comfortable is you're not frosty enough. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You're not
100% agreed.
you're not cold.
Oh,
You know,
listen. Okay.
the fire's nice and it's warm and oh I got my food and this and that. You know, obviously like these are just theoretical things I'm talking about, but like you're not cold enough. You know, like I said, sometimes you gotta put the fire out and go find another one. You know, that's just how shit is. Um,
They're theoreticals, but they ring true in life.
yes.
Like there's a reason that people say them, and usually when people are saying them, they're older, they have some life experience, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh, it's just you and what. Like it comes from a seed of truth. Like there is a bad thing about being too comfortable.
Yes.
As with anything, you know. Let's say you let's say you win the lottery, and you start living your life completely different. You start eating at 5-star restaurants and getting used to all this inflated lifestyle.
Hmm.
And then let's say it was me who won the lottery and I started doing all that. And then I rolled into Taco Bell and got a chicken quesadilla. I'm like, "Oh, this is garbage." Well, wait a minute. I used to love Taco Bell,
Yeah.
but then I got too used to that inflated lifestyle. You know, or oh, I don't need to be, we talked about how that constant state of anxiety, like always having to face like the door in a restaurant
Hmm.
and always checking behind you. It's that instinct that keeps you alive. It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I have a bodyguard or whatever, so I don't need to do that. And I can just let myself relax. And then that one time that bodyguard's not there or whatever, oh, something's going to happen.
Hmm.
And so being, too comfortable, I,
Like I said, it could be good and it could be bad.
it dulls
You know what I'm
your
saying?
senses. It dulls your sword.
Yes.
Like there is always um, what is it? I think it was about Green Arrow. And they're like, why does he use a bow and not guns? Like if he can hit you in a spot with an arrow that's not fatal, he can hit you with a gun in a spot that's not fatal. And it's like, well, a bow and arrow takes constant discipline.
Hmm.
A gun, not really. Like, yeah, you need to practice and whatnot, but it doesn't take as much discipline and training and that calm mind as a bow and arrow does. It's like it's keeping yourself sharp.
Yes.
And I think there definitely is a lot of truth to that. I mean, it's the same with just growing in life in general. If you never subject yourself to something that's uncomfortable, you're never going to grow.
No.
Like, every time you try a new job, it's like, oh God, I feel so uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, you just started. Everything you're learning, maybe not everything, but a lot of what you're learning is new, whether it be the work culture or the systems they're using, the processes they're going through, their SOPs, how they do business. You might have past experience, but a lot of it's going to be new. It's going to be uncomfortable. But if you stick through it, you're going to come out on the other side learning so much more. And if you
Yeah.
give up every time something's uncomfortable, you're not going to accomplish anything. You're not going to get
Yeah.
anywhere in life.
You know, the only thing you're learning is how to set yourself up for failure, not success. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but obviously, like these are, you know, everyone has different terms for failure and success. You know, failure to me is doing this and that and the other thing, and success to you is not doing this but doing it 40 times as better or something like that. I'm like, okay, you know,
Right.
obviously everyone has different
Yeah.
terms for these things. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think the general rule of thumb is to just put yourself in the best position as possible to ensure that you are providing for yourself, you're providing for, you know, your family or whatever else you got, or, you know,
Right.
like I said, there should be minimums that you should be setting yourself up to have.
I think
Um,
regardless of the individual goals, I think something that only because I've never seen it not apply to someone, regardless of what your personal goals are, whether it be you want to, be an athlete or you want to provide for your family or whatever, progress in some area of your life kind of makes you feel that way. Like
yeah,
gives you that happiness, that fulfillment. Let's say, you're working and your spouse is at home and you're just sole purpose. You get up in the morning, you're like, all right, I'm going to go work and I'm going to bring in the money and I'm going to provide for my spouse and our kids and we're going to have a great life. Some sort of progress in that is, oh, okay, now we've saved up for so-and-so's college, or, oh, now we're saved up for our annual vacation. And now we can, take a better vacation than last year. I feel like making some sort of progress in your life, regardless of what it is the maybe not simplest. No, I'm going to say simplest because it's, it doesn't have to be a lot of progress. But, eating one more salad per week to try and drop weight, or, going on a walk for 10 more minutes than last week. Just making some sort of progress moves you in a better direction for your life, whatever that progress may be. Improving your school grade by 1 letter or by 5%, or again, getting, going on a 10-minute walk per day because, you haven't been doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I feel like some people write off small changes. They say, oh, what could a 10-minute walk do? It's like, but you're doing nothing. So a 10-minute walk a day compared to nothing a day is a big difference.
Yeah, because that'll turn into 10, turns into 20, turns into 30, turns into 45.
Exactly. It's massive.
It's incremental change.
What I see the most is like savings, like financially.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what is $10 a week going to do? Put it in savings. It's like $10 compared to $0.
Yeah.
That's an infinite difference.
Yeah. It's 10 times the change.
Right.
Like, and I think this is the problem with how we view things as a society is like, it's the fast food thing. It's like, well, I can get it now, or why can't I get it now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh, I can get this, I can get that, I can get this right away. 2-day shipping, and
instant
I can drive my car
gratification.
over to exactly, to get food and the music I like. I have to, I could find it on Spotify real fast and type it in and have it. Like I said, it's this whatever. So anything that is less than is not good enough, unfortunately. And like I said, that is a problem because when we're so used to having things right away, like the work, we feel like less work is needed for this type of shit. When in reality, like, work is always going to need to be put in. It's just like you said, it's incremental. You could do it slowly and still gain progress. That's fine.
Right.
And like it's a problem. Like I said, I don't know how it started. Obviously, like some whatever in the 40s or 50s was like, you could do this in 10 minutes or whatever, but like the constant influx of get rich quick and do this, whatever, like that, it's a problem because it creates a separation of work, and we feel like we could do no work to get something, when in reality, like, you're going to be extremely, like, the chances of you doing nothing and getting something is almost zero.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's, it's like, oh, I'm never going to get to this goal.
Yeah.
It's like, you're right. And you're doing nothing. So you're most definitely not going to get to that goal.
Mm-mm.
But if you just do something, you're automatically more likely to get that. Oh, I want to save this much for a house. Okay. $10 a week is, again, way, way closer to getting the house than $0 a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's like an instant gratification thing, and also a lack, again, the progress. Being able to see your progress is a huge thing. I think if everything was trackable, like let's say like physical exercise, like let's say somebody wants a 6-pack. In order to visibly go from like nothing to like a visible defined 6-pack, that's going to take a long time.
Yes.
If you're not Hollywood and you're paid to work out 5 hours a day, it's going to take a long time. But if it was somehow like measurable, like, okay, in 3 months, your muscles will be this much, bigger and blah, blah, blah. At this time, you'll be able to see them. At this time, they'll be defined. It's just a lack of being able to see any progress.
Yeah.
So, your job, going to work. I know I'm going to get paid at that 2 weeks. That's me seeing the work I put in is that paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
But if, again, you're going to put in the work and you'll get a paycheck, but you don't know when. I mean, how many people would stop working?
Exactly. How many people would go, well, it, why the hell am I working when I don't know when I'm going to get paid?
Right.
Um, like I said, there's commonality with this kind of like this thing, because like you said, like if you could see it on a scale from 0 to 100, everyone would have literally zero issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
It's actually something I just watched a video on. So, Dave Ramsey? Maybe you've heard his name.
he sounds familiar.
If you saw a picture, so he's bald, he's got glasses, he's a big finance guy, and his whole thing is no debt. He like pays off everything. He holds like a podcast where you can call in and tell him your financial situation. He'll kind of break it down for you.
Mm.
So I'll see clips of his stuff, but I'll watch, Graham Stephan, and I told you about the Caleb Hammer guys videos.
Yeah.
And they kind of, if you are someone who can handle credit cards responsibly, it's better because you get rewards and you're going to spend anyway. So Dave's is the entire opposite. It's no debt, whatever. But one of his rules is like step one is get $1,000 as an emergency fund. And it's something that Caleb had a problem with. It's something I had a problem with because $1,000 these days, like a real emergency, it doesn't do much.
No.
Medical emergency, not going to do much. Your car breaks down. Hopefully it's something that costs less than $1,000. So what does that really do? And it's something they just asked. They had a podcast episode with one of his assistants, and they're like, the $1,000 emergency fund has been in place for like 20, 30 years. Why hasn't that changed with times? And the guy broke it down and he said, that first step, that $1,000 emergency fund, isn't to say, okay, now you're good on your emergencies. It's to give people that gratification of knowing they completed a step.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people, again, 3 to 6 months, if you tell someone, okay, you need $8,000 or $10,000 in the bank, that's such a big number. They're like, I'm never going to get to that. So he broke it down and said, if you give them $1,000, say get to 1,000, then work on these other steps, that's going to be achievable in a lot shorter amount of time. So then they have that sense of progress. They go, okay, I completed step one. Now I can work on my debt. Oh, here's my smallest credit card. Now I took that out. Now I can work on my bigger ones. Oh, now step 4 or 5, I can go and build up my emergency fund. And hearing that, it made a lot of sense because that's what you need. You need that first sense of progress. You need to lose that first 5 pounds for you to realize, oh my God, this is working.
Yeah.
And so that was something that was really cool to hear and understand. And okay, that makes sense. People need to see some sort of fruits from the work they're putting in for them to understand, oh, okay, cool. I will commit to this. I will stick to this because I see my hard work paying off.
Yeah. It is important, when once you see like you can't do it, then it becomes easier,
Mm-hmm.
Every step, every whatever gets smaller and smaller, because you're like you said, you're seeing the fruits of your labor. You're seeing the time invested. You're seeing the whatever. Like these things they're important,
Right.
And like I said, it's just I wish like we were taught this, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, that's just not the what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the society we live in. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is like they feel like you should be out for yourself, and oh, you don't need no help. I didn't need no help. Why do you need help? Type shit. I'm like, that's not the it's not the way to go and look at it. You know what I'm
It's not
saying?
very
Like,
conducive. As independent as like the American ideology is, grow up, move out of your house, make things of your own.
yeah,
We're still a society. We're still a community to an extent. We're all working together to provide just whether it be a better future for our kids or just a better future in general. And me and Jordan actually talked about this, just the way schools are formulated, like what they teach you. Oh, go to college, rack up all this debt. Trade schools, oh, those don't exist.
yeah. Oh,
You
that's
know,
not smart.
yeah,
You'll be working in hot weather, or doing this, that, the other thing, and I'm like,
dude,
yeah, but
real estate. You can turn 18 and go get your real estate license.
hmm
I didn't know that. No debt. Yeah, it costs in terms of the state test, the classes and everything, I think in total like $400.
yeah,
Okay, you can save that up working like a job. Go get your license and then start work. Again, no student loans, no massive amounts of debt. I didn't know that. Trade schools,
like,
way cheaper. They teach you skills that are actually marketable. Oh, hey, yeah, you want to learn to be a mechanic or welding or all these skills that are going to continue to be valuable for the next 80 years?
mhm.
You can go learn them and get certified and get a portfolio, and we'll help you find a job. But let's not advertise that. Let's advertise taking on 80 grand a year to
Yeah.
go get your underwater basket weaving degree and go work a minimum wage job while you try to find a job to incorporate your degree into. Like,
hmm
come on.
like I said, it teaches you to be a slave to labor. You know, instead of your own person, instead of whatever. Like, I mean, think about it. Think about the times you go to school. You know, you wake up in the morning, you go to school, you get off in the afternoon. Sounds like a job to me.
Yep.
You know, um, it's like success or fail and like all this kind of shit. Like, you're conditioned. You're being conditioned to perform. You know, menial tasks for minimal improvement or minimal return. Realistically,
Right.
um, like I said, it's just how it is.
Yeah. We had a guy. So my town was pretty small. I mean, our high school was like 1,600 kids total, so it wasn't tiny.
Uh,
But a lot of us went to school with each other in elementary and middle school and all that.
yeah.
There was a kid named Jack, and his nickname from elementary school was like Jack the Dragon Drawer because he would come in with these massive, massive poster boards of like these intricate dragons with their scales and like breathing fire. The dude was insane.
Mhm.
Nice kid, but he'd always be drawing. It was very clear, like that's what he loved doing. He was going to be an artist. But no, let's pump him through all of these. Oh, yeah, you got to take 4 years of this and four
Yeah.
years of math and science and all this shit, none of which you're probably going to ever use or need. Because clearly, again, he already had what he loved doing
hmm
and could have already moved forward with that. But no, let's, again, apply to go to
Exactly.
college.
Yeah.
Oh, go do this.
It never made sense to me. You know.
Yeah.
How is it that somebody can obviously excel in some type of like literature or art or whatever, and you're telling me like you want him to pursue math, you want him to pursue science? He's like, that's not his brain, you
Right.
know. Like I said, man, it's just how it is. It's a capitalist hellscape. You
Yeah.
know, you turn kids into mindless whatever because you
Drones.
need yeah, you need workers for the jobs and labor and shit like that. And well, they don't want you to be your own boss type shit. They don't want you to be uh, to learn any skill because, oh, if you can rely on somebody else, then it's better that way because you'll always be searching for a job. You always be in trouble. You always be in debt or whatever.
Right.
like I said, it's how it is. The system has always been set set up for us to not necessarily fail, but to not be as true to ourselves as we could be. To
Right.
be more. Um,
To make sure that there's plenty of bodies filling the
yes,
bare minimum slots.
exactly.
Yeah. It's wild, man. It really is.
They don't want you doing that because guess what? It takes away a person. It takes away or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I'm just glad. I credit part of it to Gary V, the big media like titan.
hmm
I was listening to one of his podcasts, and I I had been listening to him for like 4 months. But again, sometimes it just takes hearing the right sentence at the right time in your life. You could hear the same shit, but you were in the right state of mind at that moment when you heard it.
hmm
And that's what it was. I was in the coding boot camp.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And dude, I hated every second of it. And this had been the case. I was coding, and then I was originally going to pursue being like an RN, a registered nurse.
hmm
And every time it was, oh, you're just doing this for the money. You're just doing this for the money. Like, you hate doing it. Why are you doing this? Because, oh, I feel like I should. Why? Because, again, it pays well.
Yeah.
Society needs this. Oh, an RN, oh, it's a great job. You're going to be working, 100-hour weeks, but hey, it pays well. So, yeah, I remember listening to him. He's like, just do what you love, In a nutshell, it was find something you're good at, do what you love, pursue it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's something that needs to be taught more. It's part of why I love YouTube and like social media. Like the good parts of it. You get so much exposure to so much more nowadays.
Mhm.
And I feel like that just pokes another hole in like school's whole foundation. It's like, oh yeah, take this class and memorize everything. And you can't use notes on a test, even though no part of the real world is like that at all.
Yeah, exactly. You telling me I'm not going to be able to use a calculator at my job? I'm not going to be able to talk to a coworker to get assistance?
Right.
Like it's dumb.
You're telling me my computers at work don't have Google? Oh, wait,
Yeah,
they do.
because it lessens your reliance on others. It makes you more isolated. It makes you more afraid of looking out for help because you'll look like you're doing the wrong thing. Like this is the shit I'm talking about. You know, like I said, it's these small little like whatevers, but these are the things that add up. To the whole. Like if you could, you obviously would ask for help. It makes sense. Who's not asking for help? Who's not, looking for assistance and this and that? Like you're being set up to, like I said, you're being set up to always like worry about yourself and not worry about anybody else. Like it's not,
Right.
being cooperative is not conducive to society. You know,
Yeah.
especially the society we live in, where like, nobody's asking for help. Nobody's asking for, uh, oh, can I get your thoughts on this and that? It's like, no, nobody's asking for that shit because it makes you look dumb. You know, it makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. It makes you, look like whatever. And it's like I said, if we looked at that shit differently, like it wouldn't be a problem, but we don't.
Yeah. I see it a lot of jobs. It's like people will be fresh and they'll just start, oh, God, I did this. Oh, what do I do? It's like, just ask. People are here. Like, you're not going to get in trouble for not having all the answers.
Exactly.
This
You know what I'm
isn't
saying?
this
Like,
isn't high school. This
no.
is, real world. Nobody cares. But just ask. We're all here.
Yeah.
You know?
Be I'd rather you be non-confident in your skills than never ask a question about how to do it.
Right. Like ask, 100 questions. Then, oh, I have no idea, so I'm just gonna wing it. It's like,
Exactly. And then something up or whatever. It's like, well, why didn't you ask? Like that's the first thing that always happens. How come we didn't ask anybody?
right.
Oh, I thought it was this or that or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but you thought, you didn't check in with nobody, you didn't confirm with anybody else.
Right.
I said that's
It's
the
sad,
issue.
man. It's
It's
sad.
Like I said, if we worked together more, if we were more, you know, socially inclined to admit our mistakes and admit that we don't know everything and we don't have answers for everything, we'd be fine, you know. But like I said, everyone wants to be the smart individual. Everyone wants to be the, you know, the one who knows it all, who's got all the answers. I'm like, that's kind of not how life is, though, you know.
Yeah.
So
Nobody's gonna know everything.
no,
You're gonna forget things. You're gonna. That sounds like a miserable life, just trying to memorize and do everything all the time. Like
exactly.
if you have tools, and I tell this to Abby all the time. She's like, "Oh, you don't know where you're going." I'm like, "Listen, I have my GPS, okay, and we live in the middle of the city. I'm not going to try and needlessly remember every single street near us. I know a few, and I know like general directions how to get places. Like, I don't care about memorizing every single street. That takes up way too much like brain, like shelf area. No, thank you. I don't need to memorize my phone numbers anymore. Like, I've got a key few. If there's an emergency, cool. But with so many, yeah, with so much access to information these days, there's no point to press this. You like just push it down people's throats. Like, oh, you've got to do this. The one I love is when high school teachers are saying, "Oh, you think you'll get away with this in college?
Oh yeah, yeah,
You think college is gonna be like that?
yeah.
College is a cakewalk in terms of like what's allowed. You stumble in halfway through a class and pass the test. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, high school. Oh my
It's like you think college will allow this. Meanwhile, your professors smokes just as much as you do. You know, it's like
Yep.
I'm pretty sure college is fine. You know, like I said, it makes you afraid. You know,
Yep.
it makes
Dude,
you afraid of like failure and shit. It's like this. It's the problem.
my first year of college here, my English final. I had to take one English class. Like one of my APs didn't cover it.
Hmm.
The day of our final, we're standing outside. It's like 15 minutes past, when it's supposed to start. We're like, oh, where's he at? He sent us all an email. And he's like, you know what? I got in a fender bender. The finals canceled. You all passed.
There you go.
It's like, that's the reality of college. Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Professors don't pretend to be something other than human.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of high school teachers, they have to maintain this image of like upstanding, like, oh, this is how the world is going to be. No, it's not. We're all human. Shit happens to everyone. Yeah, it's
Yeah, but
it's
how
wild.
else are you gonna be afraid of failure, man?
That's another. Oh my god, dude. Failure is not a problem. And I get it too, because again, I swear school is like, oh, you made a mistake. That's terrible. Oh my God, you
Mhm.
failed a test. You should be ashamed.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, you failed. You made a mistake. Now you get to learn. That's where you learn. You know? Like,
That doesn't sound right. There's no redos, man. You can't
huh?
just can't go back and change. That's crazy. Crazy
Like,
talk.
you try to ride your bike and you fall. Okay, now you know what not to do next time. Oh, you fell again. Okay, what did you do? Oh, now you try again. Like, yeah. See it all the time, man. It's like, oh my God, I made this mistake at work. It's like, it's all right. It's not the end of the world. Okay. And unless you're working with like nukes and you accidentally pressed
Yeah.
the button to launch
Yeah.
them all, it's okay. Like, it's all right. Unless that's your job, it's okay. You're going
Like I
to be
said, it's
fine.
just too much pressure is put on us to be perfect all the time, and like I said, that's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
Um,
And on the flip side, even if you are perfect, life is not going to work out.
no.
I applied to colleges with a 4.5 and got waitlisted for most of them. Like, you are going to put in all your effort and you're going to do the best you can, and life is still not going to work out in your favor all the time.
Mm.
So
It's
just
what's that Star Trek quote, that the Jean-Luc Picard quote? It's like you can make no mistakes and still lose.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yep. You can do
it's like
everything right
yeah,
and you're still going to lose, and that's going to happen.
that's
The
just
important
life.
thing is dust yourself off, get up, and keep going.
Just like in the wise words of Aaliyah, you pick yourself up and try again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right, folks.
That
Oh my God,
works.
dude. I had 2 of those
Whoa.
donuts this morning.
Oh, which one did you have? Which one, the cookies and cream or the peppermint one?
I had 2 of the cookies and cream and then half of the peppermint one because she didn't
Nice.
finish it. Like, oh my God, dude. They're so good. If they weren't so expensive, I would implement them into like a monthly budget. But they're pricey. They're very pricey, but they're so good. Oh man, I'm probably gonna have another one after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. What is it, Monday?
It is Monday.
That's right. Hey, if you're watching, go down there and say happy birthday to Squatch here. It was his birthday, not 3 days ago.
Not but 3 fortnights ago, my lord.
Yeah. So,
Was it me birthday?
so go wish this gentleman a happy birthday.
Yes, I turned 48 years old.
Nani? Hey
Just
man,
like them.
you're a third of your life. With the way medical advancements are going, we're gonna live forever.
God, I hope not.
I hope so. I would 100% live forever.
Listen, man, it's
Easy.
not natural. It's not natural.
You're
I
right,
don't
but
want-
if
don't
I
like
could
it.
do it, easy. And I never, like, people will say, "Oh, then you'll just keep watching your loved ones like grow old and die." And it's like, okay, but that means you get multiple lifetimes of good things. You know? Everyone always talks about the bad things, but there's so much good. You know? You get to see all the new Marvel movies that come out. You get to ride all the new rides at Disneyland. You get
God,
to
with the way that wokeness in Marvel is going, I don't think I want to watch any more of their movies, man. They're becoming too woke for my liking. I don't like that.
Oh God. You know what? As long as they
They're
deliver a
casting
solid
too
movie.
many. They're casting too many women of color, man.
It's
How
a
else
problem.
can I? I can't relate to this.
Guess not.
I'm
Listen.
for all those who don't know. I'm
God.
literally joking. Do
Yeah,
not.
this is we'll put like a big banner right here that says sarcasm.
Yeah, if you got a problem with people being casted for roles, fucking
Listen, as long as
go.
they deliver a good movie, I could give a shit less.
Yeah, just go join a fucking talent agency and start recruiting. Then,
If you're not some Twitter warrior, that's what most people care about. If they want to see a movie, they just want it to be good. They
yeah,
don't care who's
exactly.
cast or what they
No.
just make the movie good.
Like I said,
That's
it's these weird arguments, man. Because like my favorite thing is somebody will be like, yeah, but that it's not comic book accurate or whatever like the one that pisses me off the most is the Little Mermaid, because obviously they cast a young black woman for that
Yeah.
role instead of like the white teenager from the original movie, and I'm like, but does it make that big of a difference though?
She's a fish.
Exactly. She's fake. Like it's a creature of myth, man.
She's a fish. Like,
Nobody's questioning why aren't all the werewolves French? Like excuse me.
oh my
Or
God.
why Frankenstein wasn't actually an amalgamation of dead bodies. It's not accurate to the books. I'm just like, off, dude. Like, just admit you're a racist sack of shit and move on with your life.
Again, there's yeah. You choose what matters in your life.
Exactly.
And if
You know,
you care about, now there are something like there are some castings I will absolutely care about. They're casting Liam Hemsworth instead of uh, whatchamacallit?
well,
Uh,
that's just
yeah, dude. That pisses me off. But that's only because what's his name is so good. Man of Steel.
I,
Um,
Henry Cavill.
oh, yes. But again, like, dude, she's a fish.
That's what I'm saying.
Who cares?
You know, like the one thing. Actually, it was on TikTok, man. I really wish I would have saved it because it
Mhm.
was hilarious. But it was because they announced that new like last week they announced that new Harry Potter TV show that they're coming out with the series.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like oh the new castings were announced for like the new Harry Potter movie. It was like it's like whatever. Then it was like Samuel Jackson is like Snape and like Wanda Sykes as Hermione and shit. I'm like that's funny, you know what I'm saying? Uh, but it's just like God, man. Like I can't wait for that to come out in like a couple months as like an actual like somebody fell for it and like it gets put out somewhere. It's like you won't believe who they casted as Hermione in the new whatever. It's just like Wanda Sykes. I'm like, oh my God.
Uh, yeah. I again, you choose what matters and what you put your energy into. Like, if that's what you want to do all day is complain about castings, then
I mean, yeah, listen, you're more than welcome to. Somebody appreciates you for it. I
yeah.
don't.
That's like
Um,
I know people were also talking when they mentioned it, the God of War show.
mhm.
They're like, just cast Christopher Judge. He's got the voice and he's a monster. Like he's built like a tank. And they're like,
Yeah,
oh, but he's a black dude. And
yeah,
Kratos is white. It's like, one, no, he's not.
yeah. Definitely, he's not.
Like,
Like, are
he's
you?
not white. Those are the
Yeah,
ashes of his dead ones, or his his wife and daughter.
wife and
Those are
daughter. Yeah.
their ashes are molded to his skin. So no, he's not. But again,
So it's not like you said
who
Greek,
cares?
Mount Olympus.
Yeah, like it's a completely fictional character.
And like I said, and this is the problem, man. You know, people get a voice like online or something like that or whatever, and it's just like they think what they say matters when in
Yeah.
reality, like very minimally, will nobody ever listen to what you have to say or pay attention to it or care about your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not
Yeah.
happening.
The internet has given
Um,
a false sense of that people actually give a shit about your
yeah,
opinion.
like it's just like when you say something in conversation, you wait for somebody to like to say something back. You're just like, well, I said something. How could they just say anything back? It's like because again, not everyone wants to, uh, you know, converse about your opinions on border policy. It's like, yeah, you can say that shit, but like nobody's gonna want to talk to you about that. You know?
Yeah. And again, like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like people just
I'm
want to
like,
live their lives, you know?
exactly. You know, I don't give a about like who the gets cast as what. You know what I'm saying? I could care less. Just as long as they do a good job and the movie's good, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know, I have more important shit to worry about in my day to day than some, you know, like I don't give a
Anything like
shit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
man,
just
I
it's
got
weird
bigger
to me.
problems
Like
to deal with.
exactly, that is weird to me that like that's what they focus on,
Mhm.
and but then I go, well, they never do it for white actors, and they never do it for uh, like lighter skin roles. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? It's always like somebody who's like brown skin or uh darker skin or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's right, because they're racist.
Mhm.
I know why now.
Right.
It's like, oh no shit, huh? It's like
Yeah.
who would have guessed that one?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, why are you
Like,
upset? It's like you're not showing consistent behavior. I wonder why.
yeah, no
Oh,
shit.
okay.
It's all the lead. It's all that lead paint those boomers were eating. They couldn't get enough of it, man.
Have you seen that it's like a meme, it's like a picture of a grandpa and he's like, my grandpa just ate an entire can of paint thinking it was yogurt. And
Yeah,
then it's like
like
update next day his stomach is completely unfazed.
yeah. That's the lead there, buddy. You just can't get enough of it, can you, Boomer man?
Oh God.
I
Oh
know this
man.
shit.
Did you see the trailer for the Marvels or the Marvels? However you.
Yes.
I have not watched the entire trailer, but I saw the scene of Captain. No, no, no. Oh God. Kamala Khan and I don't know her hero name. Wavelength? No.
Oh, Monica Rambeau's character.
Yeah, I don't know her hero name.
What the
I've
hell is she
heard it
called?
before. Oh,
Moonbeam or some shit. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I can't remember.
But I saw that little like fight sequence. I'm like, hey, that looks pretty dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I
Yeah.
am
I mean,
excited.
like I said, I enjoy you know, I enjoyed Captain Marvel, and I also enjoyed
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch and or WandaVision. WandaVision. I
Oh
really enjoyed
yeah,
that.
that was
And
great. I
yeah,
will say it took a few episodes to get going, but as they started to dive into like, oh, the things in her reality are starting to kind of crack.
yeah,
That's when it really was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
yeah. Because for me, it was the intrigue. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It was like, well, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
You know, because you're right. It was slow, and like you know, that's understandable. I think they're trying to set a tone. Um, but once they got a couple episodes in, and like the intrigue started, like I couldn't take it because I'm like, man, what the fuck is going on? You know.
Yeah.
Then it became like, oh, okay, now I'm in. Now I'm invested. You know.
Yeah. Each episode was, God, explain something.
Yeah.
Explain why these people are doing this or why things are like this. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. Oh, Mandalorian. So you're caught up.
Oh man, it was so good, dude.
Whew. Yeah, it was. A spoiler
Yeah, major spoilers.
if you haven't finished Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, we'll slap a
Yeah, yeah, big spoiler alert, right?
yeah
Right there.
right there.
What'd you think of that final episode?
I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
thought it was very good. Um, I I agree with the sentiment that the season felt a little like disconnected from each other. You know, because it's like, oh, first they're on Navarro, they're doing this, and then they're going, uh, back to this planet, and then we're visiting the Mandalores, and then we're going back to or the Mandalorians, and we're going back to Mandalore. And it's just like, okay, and there's pirates on Navarro. It's like, why do we care about pirates on Navarro after we literally just left again? You
Right.
know, um, like I said, it felt a little disconnected overall, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm just one of those people who can never get enough Star Wars. Um, and this kind of scratched all the itches I wanted, like Star Wars wise. Um,
Yeah, I can see that there wasn't like a cohesive linear story for the entire thing.
yeah, it felt like more like short stories over 8 episodes than one long narrative over a season, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Which yeah, I can see that. I mean, I still enjoyed it. That final, not final, but that last episode when they launch from their ships and
oh
they're
God,
flying
dude,
down and the troopers
yeah,
are flying up and it felt like Clone Wars again. I'm like, this is so cool.
hmm
And I'm really glad they did not do because there was a lot of speculation that the armor was a spy.
yeah, yeah.
I'm really glad they didn't do that
I
because
mean,
everyone and their mother saw it coming. And to me, if if you can see the twist coming from a mile away, then it shouldn't have been the twist.
yeah, it's not a twist.
Right.
Yeah, I said I definitely agree with that. I like the idea of like some distrust because
Mhm.
obviously like the two sides of the Mandalorians that we have seen so far do distrust each other. Um, like you have like these people who are essentially like the way somebody described it to me was that the group that the armor belongs to and like
Mhm.
Mando belonged to would be considered like ISIS level, like extremist wise. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, damn. But I was like, I could see it.
I was kind of thinking more like uh Mandalorian and his group were more like Amish. You know, very very set in their ways, very traditional. You know, we do things a certain way, and we're, you know, all this innovation and whatnot, and all these kind of, like, the other group adapted, like, oh, the ways of the Mandalore, the original ways, like, the galaxy has changed, times have changed, so we need to change as a group. Whereas their group is like, no, we're set in stone. This is how we do things. If you violate this, then this is what you have to do to fix it, you know?
Yeah, but with Amish people, once you're kicked out, man, you're out. There is no. Well, I actually know what, that's not true. I think you can come back if you do like something.
Hmm. If anyone's Amish, let us know. Is there
Yeah,
redemption?
please. Yeah, my Amish people, my Amish
Yeah.
audience, who are completely devoid of technology, please let me know.
Listen, you know what? Maybe they got a friend who shows them a clip.
I hope not. I don't. I really don't want this to be the first person or the first thing an Amish person sees on the internet. Uh,
Oh God, that's great. But
yeah,
yeah,
but
man.
it was very good. And like the theories they're running wild, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, dude! Like I'm so excited to see what they do with it, especially with like the movies and everything coming up. I'm like, oh dude, for sure.
I kind of hope that with all the shows they're tying them together. So Ahsoka popped up in Mandalorian,
Mhm.
and I'm sure there will be some tie into the Ahsoka show.
I'm doubtful on that actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I even if it's just like a mention,
I mean,
like,
I can for sure see that, but I doubt we'll get any Mandalorian
hmm,
at all in the Ahsoka show. I really feel like they learned their lesson with Boba Fett and are just like wanting to keep everything separate now
yeah,
because like the one complaint that everyone had about the Book of Boba Fett was that the best episode of that show was the one where Mando showed up. I'm like, that sucks because that show actually was not bad,
yeah.
but like just the fact that they kind of went like, yeah, everyone's favorite part of this episode of the show was the one where Mando showed up and we saw Luke and shit. I'm like, man, they really just kind of screwed the pooch on that because
Yeah, it's
you
tough
know
though because, like, nobody in their right mind is going to be like, oh yeah, Boba Fett is more hype than Luke Skywalker.
no,
So, whereas I think if they, like, the Ahsoka show, there's already that connection with Mandalorian. Everyone loves Grogu. I think it would be a little more tame. And Ahsoka herself is already super hyped.
yeah,
Plus, it's going to tie into Rebels.
mhm.
So, I feel like it could happen. But you might be right because I actually forgot that the whole, like, Rebel connection. So, I'm just excited to see more lightsaber fights. I really am. I miss
Yes,
them.
yeah, me too as well, 100%. Um, did you hear the theory about the two kind of orangish red lightsaber wielders we saw?
So, I know it was intentional by Dave
Yes,
Filoni.
yes.
I didn't hear why. I'm sure he wouldn't say why.
No, no, no. He said why.
Oh, okay. Uh, then no, I didn't.
So with the orange saber, kind of orangish reddish, he said it was a callback to some of the original posters for episode 4, because Darth Vader he had an orangish saber on a lot of those poster covers. It wasn't
Okay.
100% red, so he said it was a callback to that. He said it really like doesn't mean anything. It's just it was kind of a callback to that.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to turn out to be like, oh, they're not fully, in the dark side or something like that.
Well, my theory is that uh the crystals are synthetic. They're not actual kyber crystals. They're
Hmm.
synthetic, whatever. So they have not been bled
Right.
to be red kyber crystals. And like I said, since they're synthetic, they won't be true red anyways. That's my theory. Um,
Interesting. Yeah, because I know they're transitioning. Is it in the comics? Because I think they did make that transition where they changed it from having to be bled to be synthetic.
yeah, I'm not
Something
too sure.
like that. Yeah, because what
But
isn't that? I think that was in the Kylo comic. The reason his is like all crackly and whatnot is because he tried to bleed it and it like broke.
yeah, bro,
So
yeah.
it's in
So
like
his is
pieces,
yeah, exactly, and that's why he has to have the
like the
the
cross guard.
yeah, the hilt guard because it cannot contain itself in
Yeah.
a regular saber. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
I think that's cool. I like it.
But the other theory, and again, I'm not sure how this plays in because I think this is the first time we've had something like this.
Hmm.
But I don't remember the first names, but I remember the dude's last name is Skjold, and the woman's last name is Hati,
Oh yeah,
which
the Wolves
is a,
of
yeah,
Ragnarok.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, man, I know Dave Filoni loves his like wolves, you know, but I'm like, I feel that's more intentional than anything, you know.
The fact that
I
both of their names, like if it was just one, okay, maybe not. But the fact that they're both named that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh damn, that's actually that gives me some thinking. You know, I'm thinking differently about this because
s-
it I would have never thought twice until I saw that and I was like, huh,
Right, one
that's
chases the
just
moon and one chases the sun.
yeah. I'm like, that's super dope and yeah.
Interesting.
Um, and then supposedly, what's her face? Barris Offee.
Yeah.
Supposedly, people are thinking that she's one of the she became one of the sisters.
Oh, the Inquisitors. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know it with the skull and Hati, perhaps because again, one chases the moon, one chases the sun, so they could be construed as opposites.
Mhm.
Maybe one of them, like they're both starting off as like inquisitors or whatever, and one is constantly trying to chase that light side, whereas the other one is trying to chase the dark side. So maybe they set them up as on opposite ends, and by the end of the show they swap.
Maybe. Or it could just be Dave Filoni doing his whatever. Because he had something with like I forgot what it was. It was like something with like lone wolves and
Hmm.
wolf legion or something like that. So he does have a thing for wolves, but again, I'm not
Interesting.
too sure on the whole thing. So
Interesting. I'm excited either way. Ahsoka's, yeah, she kicks ass.
yeah, it's gonna be dope, man.
Yeah. So that's and I'm sure we'll see Vader. Mm, give me more of it. Like,
Yeah, we could see potentially. Um,
I really hope so. I want to. Oh. You said you've seen that scene from Rebels, right? Their fight.
uh, the one with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I know about it.
I'd love to see them do like a callback, even if it's like a flashback. That'd be so cool. Like, just give us a little hint of that. Oh, oh my God! And Thrawn, bro.
Yeah, Thrawn. Yeah, that's the big one, man. It's fucking
Mm,
Thrawn.
I
And
can't
people are thinking that's
wait.
gonna set up a Heir to the Empire movie, and I'm like, that could be dope as shit too. So I'm like, hmm.
Hell yeah. I am so down for that. Thrawn is such a cool character.
Yeah, and I feel like he's vastly underused.
Yeah.
Especially in like shows and shit. So
Did you
I'm
do you know the lore of his species?
the Chiss.
Yeah.
Uh, I know that they're. Oh man, what the hell did I remember? Somebody at work told me. I don't remember 100%, but he was like the first like non-human to make like any high level position,
That's
you
true.
know,
Yeah.
and something for the Empire because they're very like not strict, but um, it kind of sets off their like whatever when somebody of their own is not human, essentially, you
Right.
know. Um,
Yeah, he was in close with the Emperor because he had so much knowledge of like the outer rim,
that's
like the
right.
outer regions, and so
Yeah.
he fed him a lot of info. But apparently, I want to say it's just their females of the race. There's something like they're force sensitive, and so before they had like interstellar like tracking, it was almost like they were used as tracking devices to like guide them through the cosmos.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had some sort of like attunement to the force, and they almost used like a compass.
It's like the spice from Dune.
Yeah.
It helps me travel the stars, man.
Yeah, so that was, yeah, just learning about that was cool.
I I'm surprised I've never heard a joke like that before. Like, listen, I'm a better driver when I'm on spice, man. Trust me, bro. you wouldn't get it, you know.
Oh God, that's great. Oh, more Star Wars. I can't. Oh, Jedi Survivor this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Preload is, I believe, starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Um,
We're gonna head to the GameStop Thursday night. Pick it up.
oh, that's right. Yeah, you're doing that. Dude, I haven't been
Yeah.
to a midnight. You telling me about that? I think I texted you that too. I have not been to a midnight opening since I got my Xbox One back in 2013.
Damn.
I remember telling I was working FedEx. I remember telling my supervisor at the time, I was like, "Hey, man, like, can I clock out like 10 minutes early so I can start making my way over to GameStop?" He goes, "What?" He was like, "What's at GameStop?" He's like an older dude with like a
Yeah.
big white beard. He's like, "What's at GameStop?" I'm like, the new consoles drop." He goes, "Oh, what is it, like a PS6 or something?" I'm like, "Are you fucking old man?" I'm like, "No."
You're like, yes, that's exactly what it is.
Is it one of those Nintendos that the kids like to play?
The BlackBerry 2,
Yeah.
the PC
Uh,
2.
yeah, PC too. So yeah, I was like, yeah, but that's the last time I generally have been to a midnight release.
I don't think I'd do it if it wasn't so close. It's like a 2-minute drive,
Yeah,
and it's like a relatively smaller one. So, the last one for God of War, there weren't too many people there. But yeah, I wanna get that preloaded and booted up because oh man, that's gonna be so good. Oh
mm.
man, dude, it's 155 gigs.
Dude, and that's crazy to me because I mean, it's not unheard of, you know. But I'm like,
Dude, it's
what the
bigger
hell
than Modern
could this?
Warfare 2. It's
It's
like
bigger than
bigger
Modern
than Warzone.
Warfare. It's
Yeah.
bigger than Cyberpunk. It's insane how big this
That excites me. Like in terms of content.
yeah.
It
It
yeah.
should be interesting.
So I'm hoping there's a lot more. I mean, there was a lot to do in the first one in terms of, like time you could put in, but
Mm.
I'm hoping for a lot more. Give me God. See, I'm not always about like 80-hour games, but I could spend 80 hours in a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like just especially one like that. Give it to me. 100%. Oh yeah. Yes. And while you're at it, go down there and subscribe.
Yes.
Hit that like button and
Just
notifications.
subscribe
That's right.
where PC issues are fixed. Should have everything be all good there.
That's right. Episodes and shorts will continue to flow out.
Yes.
That was legit my biggest stress. I'm like, oh, we can't record, I can't edit, I can't do anything. It was bad, man.
Yeah. Say, man, I was telling Morgan because his power supply, I guess, shit the bed. And my almost decade of putting together computers and sourcing parts and all this and that other thing, I've never had a power supply fail on me, not once. So it's so crazy that like, you know, it yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like that's so crazy, man.
I'm just glad it was the power supply, not like the GPU.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was a welcome failure, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Like, all
Realistically,
right.
if I had anything fail on my PC, I would hope it to be a power supply or even shit, I'd take RAM, you
Yeah, I
know.
mean, RAM is cheap to replace comparatively.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. All right, well, it's time to go get another donut.
Yeah.
Hope you folks enjoyed. Like I said, tell us what you think about movie castings and new Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars and
Anything.
life.
Yeah. Do you find happiness and fulfillment out of progress in whatever you're trying to do? How do you feel about that? And we'll see you folks in the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.